I don't do product unboxing and product review videos very often, and actually I think last time I've done something similar was about 2 years ago, but I've decided to do this one because I thought that this might be useful to some of you. And today I will be talking about this product, Hygger adjustable air pump. So we're going to do unboxing and we're going to do a review of this air pump. But let me start with a bit of a context. If you have been following my channel for a while, you have probably already noticed that I'm quite obsessed with everything related to aquarium filtration, filters, filtration media, all sorts of filtration related topics such as beneficial bacteria and so on. Air pumps is a part of that obsession, and I have quite a collection of air pumps. Actually, this is not all. I also have a couple of air pumps in operation. So I have some cheaper and incredibly noisy air pumps. I have something like more classical, like Hygger air pump. I have a battery operated air pump, which is great, actually extremely noisy, but very useful if you're traveling with fish or you're doing something away from an electricity supply. I also have a USB air pump, which is great as well. But one thing that didn't make me quite satisfied with all of these different types of air pumps is that they're not particularly powerful. They're not, well, they're relatively energy efficient, but not energy efficient related to their capacity. So I've been looking for something that is energy efficient, that is powerful, that is silent, that doesn't cost a fortune. So I've done quite a bit of research until I actually came up with this model of air pump, and I have reached out to Hygger, and they've been kind enough to actually send me this air pump for free, so I could test it and I could review it. And so this is what we are going to do right now. So it has arrived in this relatively large box. I will talk about its characteristics and its product specifications a moment later, after we'll open it up. All right. So what we have inside? We have inside instructions manual, user manual, which is in English, and we've got charger cord. Well, it's actually connected to the pump. So the pump itself, we don't have anything else in the box. You have to keep in mind that the pump does not come with air stone or air hose. You need to buy them separately, or you can already have them. So let's open the pump. This is how it looks like. It's actually a fairly large pump, but not too large for its capacity. It has this digital display, which we're going to switch on a moment later. It has two exits, so you can attach two air hoses, and basically that's it. It's quite simple and looks very functional in its design. It's relatively light, actually, compared to its size and compared to its capacity. So it's not a heavy device. It's not something that you would be afraid to put on top of your fish tank, for example, or something more fragile. It's relatively light. I would say it's just maybe like less than 100 grams. So in terms of specifications, it's a 5-watt air pump, which is what actually attracted me, because 5 watt is not much for an air pump that is expected, supposed to be very powerful. And when I talk about its capacity, about its airflow, it says that it has an airflow of 12 liters per minute, which would be 720 liters per hour. I'm talking about liters per hour because that's what usually is being provided for Hygger pumps, for example, or fluval pumps. So it's certainly much more powerful than, for example, Hygger 400 air pump, which would have about the same consumption of electricity, of energy consumption. It would be about 5 watt or maybe 4.5 watt. I have here a Hygger 200 air pump, which also has two exits, and actually much heavier than this. But This is only 200 liters per hour air pump, that's why it's actually called 200. This is 720, so this is almost 4 times more powerful than Hygger. It consumes less energy. So it has a relatively long cord. I would say it's probably 1.8 meter or something like this. And we'll switch it on and we'll see how silent it is. So we connected it to power, and we now need to press this power button here on this LCD display. It doesn't actually turn on, so there are no lights on LCD display, but nevertheless you have to press it for a certain period of time in order for it to start working. I can feel lots of air coming out, so I'm going to connect it to an air stone. And it's really powerful. You can see lots of air coming out. We're going to connect a second air stone because you can actually do it at the same time. They're both producing lots of bubbles and lots of flow, so this is a very strong pump as far as I can see for now. And there's also opportunity apparently to increase or reduce its airflow. So to increase or reduce airflow, you actually need to press this plus and minus buttons in clicks, just like so. This is increasing, and you can see that it's really turning this small tank all over. Well, I can say that this is really a silent air pump. It's really quiet. You can't really hear it's working apart from the sound of bubbles. It also doesn't heat up. It's completely cold from all sides. Well, obviously it's been working only for maybe like less than 5 minutes, but it's completely cold. It doesn't heat up, which you would probably expect from a powerful air pump. I'm going to compare its strength and its volume to a Hygger Air 200 pump. This is a maximum capacity of a Hygger Air 200. You can see it's much weaker. It's not much noisier. It's also a quiet pump, but it's comparably weaker. It doesn't produce as much output in terms of airflow as Hygger pump, but it's understandable because this is only 200 liters per hour and this is 720 liters per hour. But in terms of wattage, in terms of energy consumption, they're actually very close. This is 5 watt and this is 3.5, and if you buy a stronger model of a Hygger which is 400 liters per hour, it will consume approximately similar amount of energy, but it will be weaker than Hygger pump. So what I can say about this pump, now it's been about 15 minutes after I turned it on and it's been running. It's still very quiet. It really produces no sound, which makes me really happy, and it's also doesn't heat up, so it's not warm at all. And clearly it's a very powerful air pump, so you can actually add more air stones, you can add more air hoses. I only have 2 here, but you could easily have 4, 5 or even 6. I would say 6 would be fine. This is not even its maximum strength. Yeah, I would say this is close to its maximum strength. I would easily add 6 extensions, 6 extension air hoses, and it would still be probably very powerful. So my verdict is that this is a very powerful and very silent air pump that doesn't consume too much energy. It's a 5 watt air pump, and it's also relatively cheap compared to similar models available for sale. For example, As far as I'm aware, it currently costs 39 or 40 pounds on Amazon. I will leave the link in the description. It's not a sponsored link. I'll just leave it in case if you're interested in this product. It costs about 39 pounds on Amazon UK, and it's considerably cheaper than, for example, a much weaker Hygger models, and which consume about the same amount of energy. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this product. I will be using it not necessarily with air pumps, but also with sponge filters, because sponge filters normally take because sponge filters normally require stronger flow and stronger air pressure, and this should be perfect. Right, so I thought this video would be useful for some of you, because we live in an age of energy crisis, and using air pumps for filtration, for sponge filters, seems to be the most reasonable approach nowadays. And if you can find something that's powerful, that's quiet, and that's not particularly expensive, that's a great deal for everyone. So right, so leave your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and soon there will be more interesting videos.